Hey, how you doing? I'd like to give you some information that you won't get from Fujifilm or find on any photography forum. That is for those folks that are interested in or have purchased a Dura-black or Dura-silver Fujifilm X-PRO3. I actually have the black one myself. I'm kind of a basic black sort of guy. But there are a lot of people chirping out there about the fact that, well, it's a couple $100 more. Well, that process is actually really expensive, and they actually are talking about the fact that it does show up fingerprints really, really easily. And there's a reason for that, and we're actually going to talk about briefly what that is, why it's expensive, and how to eliminate out those nasty fingerprints. I actually had a few days with a Dura-silver X-PRO3, and there is no denying that the oils on your fingers, no matter how clean your hands are, show up really bad on the top and bottom plate. And I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. The reason, by the way, that that is, well, it's not actually expensive, but it's relatively expensive, is actually a pretty time-consuming, pain-in-the-butt process. It's actually physical vapor deposition. It's a evaporation sputtering on cathode for vacuum depositing. And plasma, it's applied at about 800 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. But it actually forms, I think it's like 5 microns thin, of a combination of titanium and nitrogen for a really hard surface. It's actually been used since 1988. It actually came out in 1985. It's used on watches because people are always scratching their watches. Citizen and some other watch companies actually use this PVD process, or this physical vapor deposition process for the actual coating of that, and it also is actually applied to tools to make them last longer. Obviously, the tips of the tools undergo a lot of heat and stress and friction, but the shaft of the tool also does, and they actually apply that to make the tools last longer, which of course gives them better cost value because they actually last longer. Anyway, the reason why it's actually expensive is it actually has to go into a vacuum chamber, and it has to be heated up, and plasma occurs. And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, it's a slightly different process, but in the same milk. But that actually green coating that you actually see on the front and rear element of your lens, that's also, too, a vacuum deposited coating. It's an anti-reflective coating. And as you very well know, if you've ever got your fingerprint on the front of a lens, it's like way worse. By the way, I made glasses for years and years. These are not AR coated, but I have some AR coated lenses. If you have AR coated glasses, which you probably do, since most lenses today for glasses are AR coated, they are a real pain in the ass to clean. And the reason for that, if you could actually see them at the micron level, it's like a little forest of crystalline growth that has actually been deposited on the cover of the glass. And that's actually the reason for the anti-reflective coating, that green or purple tint that you see in the front of the lens. The reason why it shows up fingerprints so bad is literally that if you look at the microscopic level, and this, of course, is the same reason why the Dura-black and Dura-silver show up fingerprints really bad, is they act like wicking devices for the oils and or dirt on your fingertips, no matter how clean your hands are. They actually act like wicks. They actually draw in that oil, because when you actually touch them, they actually wick the oils away from your skin at the micron level. You can't see it, but the actual titanium top and bottom plate of the Dura-black and Dura-silver, that entire surface is a wicking material. It's wicking the oils away, and that's why it shows up smudges so bad. The easy way to get around this, by the way, is one of two methods. Obviously, getting in the nooks and crannies is going to require Q-tips, but get yourself a nice soft cotton cloth. Don't make it like dripping wet, okay? Don't do that. We don't want liquid peeling in behind the corners of your dials. Get it wet with some isopropyl alcohol, 70% isopropyl alcohol, 30% water. If you got 90%, just cut it with some water. It only needs to be about 60 to 70%. Squeeze out the extra liquid so it is damp, okay? There's a big difference between damp and wet, and you can actually clean the Dura-black or Dura-silver on your X-PRO3, and that will actually remove it. Now, getting in close to the dials, do the same thing except with a Q-tip. Make sure it's not dripping wet. What you actually do is you actually put dip the Q-tip in the rubbing alcohol, then you take a clean cotton towel, a dry one, and you remove the excess moisture so it is a damp Q-tip, and you run the Q-tip around the edges of the dials to actually remove that dirty look This will actually, the isopropyl alcohol will remove the wicking of the oils which have actually settled in. Literally, the surface of the Dura-black and Dura-silver X-PRO3 is literally like a little forest of that plasma vapor deposition of the nitrogen combined with the titanium, the plasma ion stream. That's actually gives it that extra hardness and basically makes it scratch resistant. So, and that's how you remove it, is use isopropyl alcohol, but make sure it is damp, not wet. If you use a Q-tip and or a towel specifically to remove all of it, you're going to need to use a little towel and a Q-tip. Like here's an example in the process on the tools. The part to be coated are first cleaned. The cleaning process varies depending on level of quality from the plater. The target material to be deposited is converted into a vapor by physical deposition means. The vapor is transported across a region of low pressure from its target source and the substrate, i.e. the cathode. And the vapor undergoes condensation on the substrate to form a thin layer. Basically, it's just a crystalline growth. It's a plasma deposition, basically a crystalline growth. It's the same thing. However, a different, it's not using titanium, it's not using nitrogen. The same thing that actually happens to actually apply the AR coating to not only your glasses that you wear, most glasses these days, and also to basically the only lenses these days that are not AR coated are like real junk Russian lenses. Those are uncoated lenses. You can see there's no blue or purple or green sheen. It's like, yeah, that's a uncoated junk Russian lens. So anyway, that is how you clean your Dura-black, Dura-silver, and that is the reason why it sucks up fingerprints and looks dirty easy. It's not dirt, it's your finger oil. It's literally wicking the oil away from the surface of your skin. There are actually some other surfaces that are like that, like when you touch them. I forget what they are. It's just in the back of my head. Acetone is one of them, but that's a liquid. But there's several different types of surfaces that are microscopically hairy. Hairy is not the right word, but at the microscopic level, they actually have fine scintillating hairs. And when you actually hold on to these materials, it will literally dehydrate your skin like ultra rapidly. Kind of like, imagine being out in the cold and not using any lotion on your face or something. Your face gets really, really dry and cracked. There's some surface materials, industrial surface materials, where you're advised to wear gloves. This is not exactly like that, but there are materials, because you're not actually grabbing the top or bottom plate when you're actually grabbing the camera. But anyway, that's what it's doing. It's sucking the oils out of your skin. And the reason why it looks dirty, and 70% isopropyl alcohol will take care of that immediately. Thank you so much for watching. And there's no other information out there on this particular fact, so I thought I would present it to you, even if it's a dry, boring subject. Thank you.